So while we're praying, see anybody that's just coming in, please let's use this middle row. Please, please. Let's bow our heads as we pray. Dear Lord, we thank you, we give you glory, we honor you because you're God. Thank you for yet another day to expose us to knowledge, expose us to wisdom. We ask, oh God, that you pre preside and take preeminence even in this conference today in the name of Jesus. That you would do what only you can do and take all the glory. Then at the end, it will not just be mere discussion, but actions will be implemented in the name of Jesus. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Please, while we're still standing, we'll just take the state and the national anthem and the state anthem and state anthem.
City is calling my sons and daughters of the land. The king of the city is marching. Stand up high to the pride of the land. The founding fathers of labor and our time to serve this land. The glory of the new sun will pour be upon beautiful dawns. You're the heartbeat of Nigeria, beautiful and glorious. Stars are singing over you. You're the land we want to be. Our treasures are found in all nations, and our greatness is second to none. Our history forever shall be written. Our kings have endured all time. Our people and culture and unity. Our God speaks for the land. Rich culture, stories of heroes. Legacy is forever be beautiful. Short it's Nigeria. Oh, yes, stars are singing. But you're the land we want you to be. Unite and stand with each other. Forgive and let it go. Together we can stand come what minute. Don't be future now is enough. Teach our children to teach their children what our fathers taught. To fear and love the Creator. Only then shall we succeed. Short of peace, Nigeria. Stars are singing, but you know that they want to.
Please let's put our hands together for ourselves as we have a seat. Please take your seat, and please I still crave that we use this middle row, please. Please. Everyone, please. Thank you. Okay. This is Shelter Conference Day 3, and we are delighted to have you here. Today's public holiday, but you chose to still come. It shows that you value this conference, and we don't take it lightly or take it for granted. While we proceed, we are also happy to have some important persons in our midst that are going to be dishing out wisdom, knowledge from their bank wealth of knowledge to us. And I believe that today is going to be a great time. We're going to have a great time today. I would want to set this open and hand over this microphone to a more, a very senior person to do the introductions because there are some, like John the Baptist, there are some people whose names I can't call because I can't even I can't untie or lace their shoes. Yes, so I would have to decrease. Thank you very much. Please let's put our hands together as we welcome my boss to do that for us.
Morning, everyone. Welcome. I think we still need to move the people from the ground floor up. There are quite a number of people still seated there. Um, so while we wait for them to come, I'd like to do a little talk. Um, Today we'll be listening to presentations from developers, certain developers that are doing housing estates in Edo State, and what they are offering the people. And we have the opportunity to ask them questions to know if what they are doing suits the needs of the people. We'll also be having a presentation, a very key presentation on sustainable buildings from the experts here. I'd like us to, it's unfortunate that we don't have many people in the hall because the presentations today would really be very beneficial to us. So but before those that are downstairs come up to join us, let's do a few, let's have a little discussion. I'd like to take opinions, comments from us here because I've been seeing these faces since Monday. So I'd like us to make some comments as to exactly how this program has impacted you or is impacting you and what you're looking forward to as we go on, because we still have 2 more days to wrap this all up. So will somebody help me with the mic to go around and take comments? Who is helping me with that? Thank you. Okay, I'd like to start from my left hand side. So let's start from the first row, left hand side. Is the mic on? Okay, so Madam, can you give us your take on the conference so far? What you've gained, what you've benefited, what you look forward to in the next few days coming today into the other days.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. I'm glad I'm here this afternoon. I think for the past 2 days, I've been coming somehow to be part of this conference. It has been very, very impactful. At least I have learned a lot of things from this conference. Most importantly was that of yesterday when we were talking about issues of mortgage and all the discourse around it that it gave me an opener an eye opener to as in what the federal mortgage institution is doing concerning our contribution to their office. And lastly, from this conference, what I hope to take from and seeing how the housing issue will be of a benefit to me and to every one of us that are here on how we can actually make contributions towards that. There is no there's nothing like there's no harm in trying to invest. There's no harm in trying to also invest in housing, no matter no matter how little your income may be. I think out of that income, what we are encouraging or what this conference tends to be encouraging us to do is that we should actually set us some tokens apart for housing. And those are my take. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's hear from the next persons next to you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, I've learned a lot from this meeting in regards of um, developing and becoming a functional developer. Yeah, and how to, like the theme of the program goes, affordable housing. So how to know and understand how housing and shelter works. So what I hope to take from this event or from this conference rather is that at the end of the conference, I should have a full and a basic understanding on how to become a developer because I'm kind of getting more and more interested in real estate and properties. So that's my take on it. Thank you very much.
That's a nice one.
Good afternoon, everyone. Since on Monday, I've been coming here for this conference, and it's been very enlightening. And I want to appreciate you, Ma, for putting this together because really having such conferences are not common in this part of the state, and you putting this together is really good. And really, this shelter conference has been an eye opener to me personally, and we get to understand that shelter is one of the basic necessity of everyone. In addition to food and clothing, shelter is a key thing that everyone, you know, needs. And this conference has opened up a lot of things, and especially in the area of our policies, that there's a huge gap that needs to be filled because the policies that we have in our nation have not really been effective as they should. So the housing gap has always been increasing. So this shelter has conference has brought in the need for policymakers to see how they can review it and ensure that new agenda, uh, new set of thinking pattern can be can be put in place to ensure that these gaps are put in place. Then also the other aspect is the area of information. Many people are not aware of the opportunities that are available unto them, and as such, they've not been able to key into it. So this shelter conference has also been an eye opener, and I think going forward, it will really help, and I believe those gaps will be filled. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Let's keep it going.
Good afternoon, madam.
Good
Good
afternoon.
afternoon, everybody. All protocols duly observed. I want to sincerely appreciate you, madam, because what you're giving us for free here, if you were organizing something like this in Lagos, I assure you this hall would not be sufficient to take the people. But it's unfortunate. I don't know whether to say we still lack the awareness in Edo, because a lot of people, when we listen in Lagos, a lot of people seems to have a kind of bias about Edo State, especially when it comes to investment. But here you are trying to carry the people along, and look at the turnout. I'm not impressed. Even yesterday's turnout, to me, I felt was still poor compared to what we're even seeing today. Unfortunately, I attended the first time yesterday. I came in from Abuja 2 days ago. I couldn't come here because it was late. Well, I think I have gained so much from the conference, because before now I used to think Federal Mortgage Bank was a superman of a sort, where, because like they used to convince us in the private sector, just stay for 6 months. After that, you apply for a loan and you will get it. But from all I heard yesterday, I just saw that it was a game week. It doesn't work that way. But however, I've also learned that yes, no matter whatever you've been able to save, at a time you can collect whatever you've saved or collect a housing. So I really gained yesterday, and unfortunately, I will not be here tomorrow. But at least I will try my best to see what we have in the offering today. For those who have listened, please try and actualize what you may have learned here, because no knowledge is wasted. Madam, thank you for your effort. Do not give up. Keep carrying our people along, because from the little I learned from you yesterday, there is so much the society has to take from you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Good afternoon, everybody. Peter Cole. I'm attending this conference for the first time. I'm a realtor too. I work with Mubdab Homes in Abuja, and I'm honestly very surprised that the mortgage system is here in Benin. Surprised and impressed, because not many people know about mortgage. Not many people are even interested. Once they hear mortgage, they like, it's the American thing. It's how the government wants to use to back us up. But no, it's actually the government helping you. You see, it's about redefining home ownership in Edo State, and it's a very, very good initiative. I, for one, am very impressed, and I give all kudos to you, ma. Thank you.
Thank you.
God bless you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I feel very excited to be in this conference. It's my first day today. I actually came in from Port Harcourt to attend this conference. I had some other engagements. That's why I couldn't make it Monday and yesterday. So, but I ensured coming today. So, as a matter of fact, just as our brother said, it's quite disappointing that a lot of people are not in at this event, or at this conference, because shelter is one of the basic necessities of life. And so I think we should be able to do much more next time to sensitize people some more, so that they will attend conferences like this as to look forward to a better state. Well, I look forward to extracting from what will be given out today. And I also want to appreciate you, madam, for this effort. I didn't know something like that, like this was existing in Edo State. And I will look forward to the vision that I believe God has put inside of you to truly find expression. And the best way we can, we'll give our support as much as we can to see that that vision is actualized. I'm quite impressed, and I'm really going to take so much back to my team. And so we are very sure of what we are getting involved in at the moment. I know you understand what I mean.
Good afternoon, all. Standing on all established protocol. I'll say I've been privileged to have been here from the inception of this shelter conference. We have seen presentations from experts, and yesterday was quite a good one because the Federal Mortgage Bank representative that were here were engaged, and they gave an insight on mortgage banking from the federal angle. It's a good one because the shelter is a very important facility for every individual. It is said that it is good for one to own not just the house or the structure, but a living home. Again, the conference is an insight because it's a collaboration between these organizers and the state government. I'm coming from the state government angle, and I've been privileged to learn a lot that it is possible for us civil servants to own affordable homes. Well, my take and what I expect for the next today and maybe the remaining 2 days, I need to see the technology that will give us that affordable housing. Like, I know that most of the houses that is being constructed now, they use just the brick, the cement and the sand. But as a geologist, I know that we had research in trying to use laterite to come as an alternative to reduce the cost of houses, which is the theme of this conference. So I expect that we'll learn more about technologies that will give us affordable houses. Thank you.
I was here yesterday, and there was this particular presentation that was done by one of the tech guys. He was among the team for the neighborhood turnkey project. I believe that if that app or that tech should actually come into like something that can be used by all of us, it's one thing that can change the way by which we acquire houses. Why I say so is because for my generation or for my own sets, with the way things are progressing, maybe not just in the world but in our country too, we need a quite easier step for us to be able to acquire some of these houses and also make investments in them. So I was quite impressed with the presentation yesterday. I look forward to seeing its implementation and how it's being utilized going forward from now. Also, I want to thank Ma'am for providing this platform for us, and we look forward to see it grow more in years to come because I could see many people saying this about the turnover and the attendance. I believe, like what you said, with more awareness and with more publicity, people will tend to see how important this conference or gathering is. to not just the housing issue in Edo State, but in Nigeria as a whole. Thank you.
uh, on Monday, and I saw something like this. I saw a flyer, a banner outside. So I asked myself by the roadside, I said, "What is going on here?" And I found out that it was a conference, shelter conference. I said, "Wow, well, everybody, an average Nigerian, even if you are not an average Nigerian, you need a shelter, and you have a home, you are living." So I told myself, even I myself, even if I have one, I will also need another. So I will not say much. I just want to give kudos to this organization and the presenter that bring forth this progress that we are seeing today. But there's something I want to say is that I don't know if you people have done so much jingles on radio, broadcast, and televisions, because this might go a long way to reach people. Because as we are talking right now, even on social media, people are Facebooking, WhatsApping, and as they are doing that on their phone, they are getting information from televisions and radio broadcast. Because as we are here right now, technology have gone so far. As one of the viewers was talking yesterday, even with your hands, you can put chips on your hand and you can be operating technology. So I will advise the presenter to go such a long way, because I can see it with a clear vision that with this, there will be huge progress in this conference. Thank you very much.
Well, I want to say thank you for um, bringing this up. I like to get knowledge wherever I can get it, like I said, and that's why I'm here again today. It's important for us to appreciate what is going on around us. And again, for those who are asking questions and we don't know what is government doing and all those kind of things. You see how big, how full the hall is today. And then tomorrow, people are going to be worried why they don't get information. Information is everywhere. This is the information age. So which means whatever information you require is available. But when the kind of things happen in this kind of place and we are not keen into it, we are losing. Whether you like it or not, your salary will be deducted, yes or not? Those deductions will happen. But I've learned now that I can go and retrieve my money after retirement. Very good. If it's something that I've learned during this period, I've learned something. Some people that are not here, that did not hear this, they will die and their money will go away. Government will swallow the money. What happened? Ignorance. Ignorance kills more people than malaria fever and all diseases put together. Right? If you do know that when you cross the express road, you can get killed. If you get killed, will anything happen? No. And that's the issue. We need to change our mindset as a people and begin to desire information. Let's stop being mentally lazy. Those that are not here today, apart from those that have legitimate reasons, are probably just lounging because it's public holiday. Every minute counts. Today will never happen again. What you didn't do today, you will never do it today again. So we need to begin to be a people that appreciate knowledge, embrace it so that our lives can be better. Nobody's going to change this country except Nigerians. And that's why I'm passionate about what's going on here and I'm being part of it.
So good morning, everyone. And let me first say thank you to every single person that is here on a public holiday. I came in from Lagos, and when I came in, I actually forgot that there was going to be a holiday. And I was worried that because of the holiday, people will not turn up. But I believe in it doesn't have to be everybody. The ones that actually come are the ones that have the passion. They're the ones who want things done. So the same information that will pass to a hall full is the same that we're going to pass to people who are here. And in that case, you are the winners. So I want to say, let's get ready for a very interesting day. Even though it's a public holiday, you are going to have fun. It's going to be a relaxed atmosphere that we'll have, and it's going to be a lot of learning. So just get ready. Thank you.
This is an opportunity which many people are not aware of, which they should be seeking to know so that they can key in into this program. Though I was expecting a bigger crowd before I would make my own statement. But however, I can still talk anytime I want to talk. This, because I have been here since on Monday, people have been asking questions. Oh, is it possible? Can it be done? I want to say that this is a possible venture. It is possible, but there are details I wouldn't want to unleash out here. It is possible because housing, as many people have said, after food is the next basic facilities. And here is an organization who has come up to say, we want to have affordable houses for people. How is it going to be done? Yes. You see the state government even talking about, oh, Kora City, these are all that means of this. But in this case, they've gone ahead, they said affordable houses, 2 bedroom, 3 bedroom, and they have also come up with a means of us being able to key in by creating a cooperative body. Was it yesterday? There's a cooperative body in place where different people, whether you are a vulcanizer, furniture makers of these, those civil servants, you can key in based on what you're able to pay. You begin, and the more people are into this net, the more the viability of being able to create more and more houses for our people. Beside the state government, even the federal government, people say, oh, mass housing for the people. So awareness is what we really need. I've just been across the road. Somebody said, what's happening here? I said, there's a conference for mass housing for low income persons. He said, eh? Yeah. He said, yeah. He says it's when? He said, I belong to the Furniture Association of Edo State. I'm in social position. I said, eh? He said, they are not aware. He said, these are the things we need. So we tell our people. 2 bedroom, 3 bedroom. We're not saying, oh, you go and be building a duplex. Being able to have a shelter, it doesn't mean that your room you have to put ice or put AC. Yes. So let us do a lot of publicity. So at this conference, this project, I'm aware by next year, this project will kickstart. So let us not be sitting, say, how will it happen? It will start. Professional, you saw that yesterday. They are ready. The architects are there. Town planners, I'm the chairman of town planners in Edo State. I retired as a director of town planning in the Ministry of Fiscal Planning and Urban Development. So I know what this project is about and its benefit to the general people of Edo State and Nigeria at large. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You didn't ask my executive ladies behind to make their comments. Why are you excluding them? The ladies behind, yes. Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you very much for the comments. They've been quite encouraging. So we'll go right away into today's session. I hope our presenters are ready. Prince Builders, are you ready? Why? You are supposed to be presenting. Okay, so how many seconds do we have to give you the mic? That's a long time. But you should have done that quite a while ago. Today we're featuring developers and their projects. Developers and their projects. So developers are not ready. We should carry on with other things. Where's WTF? Wow. Okay, so let's give them a few minutes, maybe 5 minutes to come up. You can identify with what I'll be talking about. Within the last few years, real estate appears to have been picking up in Benin City. Even though we are not too happy with some of the directions that the developments are taking, but we're happy that real estate is beginning to happen in Edo State. In the past, people only depended on houses done by government, but now private developers, private investors are entering into the market. That is good because it means more houses will be provided. But we are now concerned about the quality of houses, the type of houses, whether they suit the people who need the houses. And that's why engagements like this are important. So as they present, we expect that we'll ask candid questions so they can take back what may help them to adjust to suit the market better. So if they are presenting to us houses that are too large, we can raise the concerns to say that we prefer smaller houses. And if the houses are too small, we can raise our concerns to say we want bigger houses or we want houses with higher headrooms. So we have the opportunity to interact with them and they too with us. 2 months ago, I attended an event in Abuja and I tried interacting with several mortgage banks and developers inviting them to come to Edo State to invest and do business. And I kept hearing the same remark. What's happening in Edo? There's nothing happening in Edo. Why should they come to Edo? Heartbreaking, but it's the reality that most people are not yet interested in Edo State. And I believe that as we go on with these kind of interactions, the market will grow naturally. People will begin to see that the market is real, the market is growing, because what makes investors to come into a space is when they see that there is a market. So as we encourage this market, we believe that more investors will come in, more mortgage banks will come in, so that we can deliver houses at a faster pace. We said yesterday that Edo State has an approximate number of 400,000 housing deficits. And I remember also saying that that number is not foolproof, because physical count and research shows that it's about 3.5 million. So the issue now is, what is really the truth? There's also another side to it. Whether the number is 400 or the number is over 1 million, the fact still remains we need to start producing houses in decent environments for people to live in. So that drive is what we should have. If we focus on just the 400, which is the current estimated statistics, 400,000, if we say we want to solve the problem in Edo State, for instance, and we say we want to solve the issue of the 400,000 houses, how many houses should we develop every year in Edo State? Who is going to do that maths for us? How many houses should we complete and hand over every year in 10 years if we are doing 400,000? 40,000 every year. Am I correct? 40. If we have 400,000 deficits, no, 10 years. Yes, and we want to solve the problem in 10 years, over 10 years. It means we need to deliver 40,000 every year. You see how massive the market is. That's why it's not what only one developer or two developers or three developers can handle. And that's why I always say that the more developers we have in the state, the better and easier it will be to solve the problem. The more people that are in the system tackling it, the easier it will be to tackle it. So the market is big enough for all of us. So collaboration is key, not competition. Collaboration is the emphasis, not competition. Thank you very much. Thanks for being here. Are we still getting ready? We're still getting ready. Okay. So we will keep the side comments going until they are ready for their presentations. We are, by the end of this conference, we'll be opening up entries for people who would want to be developers and people who would want to be contractors in the real estate space, because we're planning trainings, capacity building for people so that we can have more skilled or capable hands to join the industry within the environment. There are a lot of There are a lot of well-meaning developers that are around Nigeria, but not many of them are ready to come here yet. But we need a lot of work done here. So once we can get some of these trainings done, and then we can find a way to have some kind of partnerships with the older developers or more experienced developers. So it will be like a mentorship kind of thing. So you can learn from of them. And after a while, you can now run things on your own. I think that will help the system. We would also see how we can collaborate with consultancy agencies that can help with establishing teams, business teams. A lot of young people may want to be developers, not know how to set up their team. They may not know how to set up their company in a way that they can be effective as a business and as a product developer. So we'll do that and see how it goes. Are we ready? Okay, thank you. So I'll give you the mic since you're ready. So I'd like us to welcome WTF Construction Limited for their presentation. They are one of the developers in town and they are very vast with their experience. So I'll hand it over to you now. This is the MD of the company and she's Mrs. Nosa, engineer Mrs. Nosa Omere. Ome. Pardon me.
It's a Benin name.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Welcome once more. We thank God for this conference, and we want to thank the conveyors of this conference. We are happy to be here, like us. I've said it twice now, and we thank God that this is happening in Edo State, Benin City. I am from Edo State, and I'm very passionate about my state. So anything to put Edo State forward, we try to promote it. So you are all welcome. I represent WTF Construction Nigeria Limited. WTF Construction Nigeria Limited, or WTF Construction as it were, is registered in about 5 countries in West Africa: Nigeria, Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire, which is Ivory Coast, Sierra Leone, and Liberia. Those are the countries where we are operating. We started in Nigeria before we moved to other parts of West Africa. The parent body is in Kansas, USA. WTF, World Ties and Forms Incorporated, is in Kansas, Shawnee, Kansas, USA. I met them in 2008 in one of the concrete shows in Las Vegas, USA. And I got interested in what they were promoting in that particular conference, and then decided to look further into what they were doing and see how we can bring them into Nigeria. WTF, World House and Form USA, came into Nigeria for the first time in 2009 to come and participate in the development of Rainbow Town. Rainbow Town is in Port Harcourt, Rivers State. Transamadin is the location. Some private investors took advantage of the system and also built their own estate using the system. I would quickly, because the main object of my presentation is to talk about this, the building system. It's a mass housing system that produces houses very rapidly, solid, affordable houses, and in record time. It can also do luxury high end. But what we're talking about here today, yeah. Move it forward. Yeah, it's okay. Mhm. Thank you. What we are talking about today is affordable housing, how everybody can own a home at a particular time in one's lifetime, productive lifetime, not when you are aged. So the system affords that, and it will give you homes that are really, really durable. I would not spend a lot of time talking about my management. The next slide is mission statement to deliver fast, affordable homes and durable vertical construction. Vision to be the West African best vertical construction company by providing affordable, volume-driven, and high-quality buildings. Who we are. I've talked about who we are. Please continue to just go down the slide. I'm the CEO of the company, as me there. The next slide is our Chief Operating Officer, Nick Kasper, is a Lebanese. The next person is Mr. Ayo Babajide, sitting right there. Mr. Babajide, please stand up for recognition. You have Engineer Tonda. This is one of the best engineers. I'm talking of best engineers that Nigeria has ever produced. One of the best engineers Nigeria has ever produced. He's still very active in engineering. He's here in Nigeria right now, doing a whole lot of things. He's in our team because we're talking about concrete and we're talking about structures. We're talking about stability of homes. So you can't do anything but work with the best hands that are available. Please go to the next slide. The next slide is our operating director is an American. Because we have partnership with USA, we have to have one of them working with us. World Ties and Forms, that is the WTF. I will explain that because a lot of people don't understand. It's one word, World Ties and Form. Tunji, can you just come forward? The building system, raise it up, stand up there, please. This is the wall. There are several of these panels that you collapse together to form a wall. Turn. This is the wedge that connects each of the panels. You know, the panels come in sizes of 300 by 3 meters or 300 by 6 meters, depending on what you want to cast. If you are casting the column, if it's a 6 meter high column, it will come in 6 meters. They apparently produce these panels in accordance with the architectural drawing. We don't alter architectural drawings, but we can give advice on cost saving. Some of our architects are very eccentric, you know, they just draw lines. If you must use this system for it to be economical, you have to systemize some of your units, like the windows, the doors. You can't have several sizes of windows. Maybe 5 at the most, it's better. I will explain that later. So this moves from one. This is how you key the panels together. And then you have another set this way. The tie is what ties this panel to the other panel so that there's a hollow in the middle. So that is the tile. This is the form. And this is the wall is what is creating. So that's how the name came, wall tiles and forms. So these panels are made out of aluminum, pure aluminum. So whoever is going to invest in this process must protect your aluminum panels. We had a situation in River State, where our brothers from the east will just come and collect it and use it for spoon and aluminum pots. This is pure aluminum. So you need to protect it. It is an investment that you don't make and lose it. You can use these panels for up to 1,000 times. It's rigid, so it's not flexible. It won't be broken. Turn it. By the time you cast your concrete, you see the thickness. So it's not something that will, with wood, after a while it will wobble. This not wobble. This is the face that the concrete goes into. By the time you strike the forms, this is the kind of face you will receive. A smooth surface, no plastering. No plastering. So the building comes plastered. We have about 5 different surfaces. If you don't want to use, if for the external, if you want to have some other surfaces, which you will see on a video that I'm going to show you, they will do some of the panels to have those surfaces. So what it means is that as soon as you remove the panel, like if you want a tile surface, like brick surface, that is what you get when the panel is removed. You just paint. Our slogan is a bungalow a week. That is our slogan. A bungalow a week, from substructure to finish. And that is the truth. I don't we don't quote our discussions. We tell you how it is. So that is the panel, and this is the way it comes. But it comes as, they will produce it enough to meet up your designs that you want. Usually, if you have 5 or 6 house types, they'll probably produce 2 sets. And they will put conversions, what we call conversions, to be able to move from one building type to the other. And then you have the window finishes, you have the door finishing. These panels can give you skirting. These curtains that we're doing with tiles, it can come with skirting. It can come with cornices. So once your building is poured and you pour today, you lose the panels the following day. It does not have to stay for 1 month. The carcass of the building, the full frame is standing with all internal partitions. With your first fix M and E in position. How do we do this? I'm going to play the video for you to watch before I will explain how we do it. Because when you watch the video, and some of these things that I'm saying now will make meaning to you. Please, can you click on, just be going. No, go up. You will see a slide that has the panels. Yes, it will click on it at the bottom. It will play. Volume. Please, can you give it volume?
Africa and the Middle East. And Asia and the Pacific Rim. This worldwide success had its simple beginning in 1976 when Orville Engelken and Ross Worley founded Wall Ties because they had discovered how to manufacture aluminum forms better to achieve a longer-lasting form. Wall Ties and Forms has now grown to fill this state-of-the-art manufacturing facility in Shawnee, Kansas, in the United States that turns out over 200,000 concrete forms each year, plus hundreds of thousands of ties and formwork accessories. Wall Ties and Forms is also the leading designer of concrete formwork systems. Most wall tie systems are to some degree custom designed to meet the needs of the contractor or of a specific global area. The wide range of WTF customizable systems includes forms for concrete housing, foundation systems, tunnel construction, precast, post and beam construction, including columns and hollow columns. Wall and deck systems serve almost any construction need, single-story or multi-story. The forms integrate stairs, window details, balconies, and various decorative features with exacting precision. Wall forms are now available with 5 surface textures that accurately resemble stone, block, and brick. WTF also manufactures forming systems to create pools, spas, stairs, fences, protective walls, agricultural, and animal confinement systems. Why have WTF systems established such universal worldwide success? The answer simply is, no other system can match WTF formwork flexibility to handle all design conditions. 3 factors account for this: quality and appearance of the finished construction, precision, and cost savings. Concrete surfaces are smoother than with wood forms, greatly reducing or entirely eliminating costly surface plastering. Decorative surfaces can be used for an entire wall or as accents, as in these finished projects. Shapes, dimensions, and surface textures will be uniform floor after floor, building after building. The dimensional accuracy also results in consistent fittings of doors and windows, and allows plumbing and electrical fittings to be prefabricated with a certainty of an exact fit. The walls and slab may be poured in the same operation, increasing efficiency and producing an extraordinarily strong structure. As for efficiency and cost savings, note the size of the crews that are able to set forms for columns, walls, and decks in these video shots. The largest panel weight is not more than 35 kilograms, 77 pounds. This enables a single worker to handle the WTF formwork components. The system can be erected by unskilled labor and without the need for hoisting cranes. The form panels are secured by steel pins and wedges with formwork ties. The only tool required is a hammer. Quality aluminum forms can allow construction cycles of 1 or 2 days as compared with a week or more, depending on the size of the project. The forms themselves, properly maintained, last 1,000 uses or more and eliminate the need to import wood into areas where it is scarce. Labor costs are up to 85% less than with job-built forms, and typically 15% lower than with block construction. The WTF formwork system has been used in the construction of hundreds of thousands of structures, including residential and commercial structures in single-story, low-rise, and high-rise construction, and has been proven to be very successful in the construction of mass housing projects worldwide. Wall Ties and Forms has been helping satisfied customers in the construction industry worldwide do the job better and more cost-effectively for over 30 years. With our wide variety of forms and our customization capability, their potential use is as large as your imagination. For more information, visit our website at www.wallties.com.
you have to have all your material before software, even compared. For the PRSD, you need a lot of resources for higher students if you go to where the criminal that to be, and we will need event plan and plan.
Ready for it, don't go into it because you are going to be tying down money. But if you are ready for it and you have a chain delivery system that is not faltered, then you can deliver at the time and the speed we're talking about. Because of this, the way we normally would build, wherever we are, we try to get a quarry close by. Either sign an agreement with the quarry owner or own your own quarry. The advantage of owning your own quarry is that the quarry dust that comes out of it can be used as a sand for casting your concrete. It becomes stronger. Own your own quarry if you can. Have an agreement with a quarry owner. Have the distributors give you cement in bulk, not in bag. So you must have for you to be able to process your concrete very quickly, have a batch plant. The batch plant can be stationary, it can be mobile batch plant, which means it can move from spot to spot to pour the concrete and move on. While you are doing all this, preparing that, the plumbing and the electrical, because you are using a customized system, you can prepare them in the workshop, cut them to the exact sizes that you need. Because this plumbing and electrical fixed fees is tied to the mesh that you use to set out the whole building floor plate is set out with mesh. Then you tie your plumbing and your electrical with just binding wire, nothing more to it. As soon as you finish that, you will test the plumbing and make sure you get the required bar. Is it 1 bar? Is it 1.5 bar? Is it 1.6 bar? Depending on the height of the building. And when you have that, you plug it and then you set the panels. This system teaches you it's like a factory system. The crew that is setting the BREC is one crew. Those are iron benders. It's a specialized trade. The M&E is a specialized trade. The people who fix the panels can be anybody, because all they need to have is the hammer to be able to fix the wedges and pin. We do train. Like we're going to be building a Morton Garden in this system. We have a lot. We signed with ESDPC. We're doing 240 units. We're building with WTF. And I think that before November next year, before my dear governor leaves, he will commission WTF site. So we're building with this system. And you have this ready. As you are finishing your carcass, you can start your tiling the next day. No plastering, no lintel, because it comes with the system. If you want your skirting to come, it comes with the system. If you want your cornices to come, it comes with the system. If you want to roof with concrete, it comes with the system. So you don't need to worry about carpenters at all. The minute you remove the panel, the building is standing. You do your tiles, and then you fix your second fix for M&E, you paint. You are out of that place. The next people that will come in are those, if you are finishing, maybe those who are coming to set the kitchen cabinets and the wardrobes. These are being prepared in the workshop. So you just come in and you move it into place. So you can actually finish a bungalow in a week, because a bungalow takes 20 minutes to cast. It takes the panel setters 3 hours to set, depending on the size of the bungalow. So the crew that delays is the M&E. So ensure that you have a good electrical and mechanical company working with you. That they cut their pipes down, not that when they come, that is when they start measuring. They have the drawings, so they prepare down. So you just come, you fix, and you move on to the next building. So it is a chain system of operation, but procurement is key. So once you have your procurement in place, the building will move at the speed of light. If you are doing multi-story buildings, you don't have to wait for 21 days to move to the next floor. If you cast today, by the next day, the people setting the BRC are setting the BRC. Somebody was talking about strength of concrete yesterday, and he says, oh, they should be able to reduce or modify. Our system comes with a concrete testing machine for you to be sure that the concrete you are using meets the requirements. Some people will, instead of using 124, they will use 136 because they want to save money. The building will crack. With us, we put a little bit of additive so that when it's set, it comes out smooth. And when you put additives, the concrete moves faster. So you use less concrete. So there's a lot of science involved in it. So this has been done in Nigeria. We've done buildings in Nigeria. We'll get there with this system. So it's not that you are saying it as, oh, it is somewhere in the US. No. Buildings have been done in Nigeria, buildings have been done in Ghana, buildings have been done in Cote d'Ivoire, buildings have been done in Sierra Leone by WTF Construction Nigeria. So we know that it is possible. But there must be the will and there must be funding, and it will move. We are available to serve your need, but be willing to offtake. So that is the system. Some people are I'm going to allow you to ask questions, but I'll just preempt you. Some will tell you concrete homes are hot. No, concrete is cold. It's cold. So a concrete home is not hot. And of course, there are going to be windows. So it's not something that is locked up. What is the advantage? An armed robber cannot come into a concrete home. He must come with a lot of tools to break down your wall. You don't have walls cracking. You don't have plasters falling off after a period of time. Watchword, the water to be used must be clean water, no impurities, and not salt. If you use salted water, your reinforcement will collapse. If you look at buildings that we see today, see brown things coming out, it is because they've used salted water. Whether you are doing normal construction, you go and use salt water. You don't know the source of it must be clean. It is the water that you can drink. That is what you are supposed to use for construction, whether it's WTF or normal construction. So that you don't have your buildings maybe lasting only 15 years and it's gone. That's why buildings collapse, because they are using waters that are not clean. The sand must be clean. Sand in the Niger Delta has salt because it's coming from sea instead of river. The sand that comes from sea is salted sand. The sand that comes from river is clean sand. So if you use salted sand to build your house, it will still have the same problem. It will crack. Because the salt will easily disintegrate the cement and disintegrate the reinforcement. So this one is free of charge. You just collect it so that even when you are building for yourself, a lot of us know how to build for ourselves. You'll be able to watch what is being used for you. So you must make sure that the materials you are using meet the standard as required by engineering process. This is always there, but a lot of times people just cut corners because they want to make money. So for us, when we set up in a Morton Garden, we're going to set up fully. And when we start, we will invite people to come on the first day. By the time we set the panels and we cast, we get the crew there. When we lose, we get the crew there. And it will be on air. So you see that it is not, and they are going to be Nigerians. We are going to be recruiting our workers from that local government. We get the youth from there, we train them. We do train, and we give you certificate after training you. The people we used in Rainbow, today, a lot of them are building for themselves. The young men who are not qualified engineers. The man who stood here now has worked with me in Lagos. He has worked with me in Rainbow. He's worked with me in Sierra Leone. He's been moving around with me and so many of my workers. So he can explain. He's an accountant, graduate accountant, but he can explain how this system works and he can actually lead a team. So that is the reason why the system can teach anybody and it can train anybody. We don't need heavy scaffolding to use this system. It comes with its own scaffolding. Around the building, as you are going higher, there are what we call wedges. They bring it out, they put floors. You climb on it and you move around on that floor. As you move the panel, this reinforcement, this scaffold moves with it. Then the bottom, you can be finishing. In traditional construction, you finish from top to bottom. With WTF, you finish from bottom to top internally. So it saves time. In terms of cost, let me do a little arithmetic. Oh, concrete is very expensive. I've told you the additives you put. We know how we get our concrete at the quality we want and at the price we want. You are building normal traditional home. You are renting a house. And your landlord, you told your landlord, I'm moving out in 6 months. I can't renew my rent. You've told one engineer to build your house. And for some reason, his procurement systems are not in place. And possibly you are not paying him when you are supposed to pay him. In 6 months, your house is not ready. Maybe it will take another month or 2 to tidy up. Your landlord will not collect 2 months rent. He will collect 1 year for you to stay that additional 2 months. In engineering, there's what we call liquidated and ascertained damages for delay. A lot of the big contractors pay to government. If it's a government project, or if you are dealing with an investor that knows what he wants when you are doing the traditional system. Because when there's delay, you have to pay the cost. If you know these things, the way these things are calculated, you will know that traditional systems come with its costs if procurement is not in place. So that is why, if you look at this system, like I said, procurement has to be in place for you to use it. It's also applicable to traditional construction. I am not saying that we don't do traditional construction. We do. But I'm saying for affordable homes, for mass housing, this is the way to go for you to be able to produce the houses as quickly as possible, and it is very durable. So it's not like you are turning them out and tomorrow is going to collapse. No. And you can see the buildings you saw there. There is no, if the architect likes, let him make it a curve. Aluminum panels will produce a curve. It's not steel, it's aluminum. Steel is rigid. Aluminum under fire is flexible. So you can get any shape that you want out of this system. But for cost-saving purposes, if you are going to have arches, make sure you have in all your windows so that they are not producing one is an arc, one is a square, one is a triangle. No. the people who are producing this system will normally go, the agreement we have with them, they are put on ground. They will come to Edo State. They will train Edo indigenes to set these panels. And after that, they go. But they will come from time to time to check what is going on. They are the only group in the world that go for training. Some people will sell you the system and they won't even tell you how it is used. So that is WTF. We've used it in Rainbow Town. Can you go back to the slide, please? Just go down a little bit. No, go down. This is Rainbow Town, the one on this other slide. That is the way it should have looked if it was finished. It was abandoned due to political reasons. It was Rainbow Town, yes, the slide on the other side. That is the way Rainbow Town will look when it is finished. WTF had 6 of the towers. Each tower is twin. So we had twin in 3 places. We finished, twin in 4 places. We finished twin in 2 places, and the other twin was, these are 15-story high buildings, stopped at the 10th floor. They gave to Costain. Costain was doing traditional construction. It took Costain a year and a half to complete 1 tower, carcass. Not finishing. One was given to an Israeli company. They did post and beam, but they didn't finish at the speed WTF finished. Just 1 tower. They gave an indigenous contractor who never did anything, collected his money because he saw it as political patronage. By the time Amechi moved on, the new governor came and said he's not doing Rainbow Town. So money is tied down there. The terrace houses were done by WTF. It's all complete. People are living there. This would have been the most beautiful estate in Africa if it was completed, or when it is completed. It has offices, it has schools, it has hospital. The central building is a block of office, and it has a helipad on top for people to come land there. And it was to be powered by gas, not NEPA. So that investment is in Rivers State, waiting for somebody to wake up to pick it up. This is the time it was being constructed. The slide on this side, that is the WTF site in Rainbow Town when it was being constructed. The ones at the back are the terrace houses that were completed very quickly. Please move to the next slide. Go down. Farms Lekki. Okay, the picture is not there. We didn't, but it's in the book. Go down. This is Sierra Leone Airport. Sierra Leone International Airport was extended using WTF system between 2011 and 2012. We built a whole wing because they wanted it done before their independence. We got it done with WTF system. Please go down. There are some other places that is used in Nigeria, but it's not. Some people use it for their private homes because of the quality, the strength. Some use it for fencing. If you drive along, if you are going to Ekpe, you see some fences that you will see cityscape written. These panels, actually, if you want your name, like a modern garden, if they want to do their fence and they want a modern garden engraved in the panel for the fence, it will be engraved in it from the factory. When you cast and you remove, the name is there, it remains forever. So you see some fences in Lagos that has names that are engraved. It was done with this system. Please move down. This is a modern garden. The building on the, and then, we're using that. This is in Abuja, National Council of Women's Society. They want to use this product. So that is why it's here. The contract has been secured. It's in Area 11 in Abuja. It's 3 towers in one. They want WTF system because they want it built quickly. 18 months, this building will be done. They are still going through the approvals. This is an estate in Abidjan. I'm in love with that country for so many reasons. I won't talk about it. So, and this again is going to be built in WTF system. We have several projects in several places. Once you know what it can do for you and the value you would derive from it, the tendency is for you to gravitate towards it. As long as there's sincerity of purpose, that you will not build for people and they will refuse to pay. Because some people will engage you, you build, and they will not pay. WTF is being owed 430 million on Rainbow Town since Amechi left office. Nweke did 8 years. So you can imagine. But we, in Edo State, we are building and selling. So we are not afraid. You want to ask question? So we are not afraid. So the import of this basically is to let people know that there are systems that can produce homes quickly and soluble homes, solid homes, and on time. So if you want to own a home, somebody was talking about signing up with a cooperative. You sign up with that cooperative, they pay us, and you continue to pay them because we would have delivered homes to them. Thank you very much. So if you have questions, I'm here to take it. Yes.
Thank you very much, Ma, for that presentation. And this is something that I wish we can employ or deploy, in very many of our locations for the sheer number of people that we have in our country. The housing deficit is such a big deal, and we keep on talking about it. But the real challenge for me, Ma, is because of the lack of funds or the scarcity of funds, deploying at this scale, because as a project manager, I like doing things on a pilot level. So when I get a pilot level and it works, then I can deploy in hundreds of thousands. And so for me, I think the way to go probably would be to see how we can actually have like franchising for people that want to do 20, 30, 40 estates. And then they will be franchised to you as the big company, because not very many people can deploy the 300, 500 million to be able to build a house. Because the real challenge for houses, so the real challenge for me is in terms of scale, having worked in this environment, for you to, one, get your money back, because you have seen from your own experience the challenge of getting money back from governments. You have 4 years. So I think driving through the private sector in terms of franchising, in terms of having them doing small communities, will be a faster win for your organization than doing a global 200,000 houses. That's my own advice, my own take based on my own experience.
Thank you very much. Like I said, Palm Spring is not government owned. It's privately built and is fully occupied. We did it in less than a year. It was taken over by Chevron. It's somewhere close to Chevron Drive. It's owned by the owner of Park and Shop. So he funded it and it was built. I'm usually on site. I'm telling you. So, okay.
What I'm trying to say, you have named one or two, and I'm thinking in terms of scale. you have 230 million people to serve. You will get better mileage by getting sub people to do 20, 40 houses in regions that you control. That's how the franchise system works. And because I understand the environment, you will not get many of the park and shop owners, right? They are talking about to pay. So what you call the value of your money in your pocket at 23% interest, you are not making good use of those funds. Then if I have 30, 50 people I delegate the same thing to, working in Kafanchan, Abuja, Port Harcourt, at the same time, I'm just, this is free consultancy. I would do it if I were in your place, because I know that the time value of money, right, that I will do in one place, I will not be spending that kind of money and energy. I'll just divide myself into 50 places and they are reproducing the same thing, because not too many people have that concentration of money in one place. The technology is fantastic. I have used it. I was showing your MD. I've used it in Numaku, right? I've used it in Mitros residences, which we did in 60 days. So I understand the efficacy of it. But I'm saying we need to step up to the next place where it's operating like mushrooms and happening everywhere at the same time. That way we are getting mileage. Remember, we had this issue of when will I get my house? So if it's only happening in Benin, thank God it's happening in Benin. But can it not happen in Benin, Kafanchan, Port Harcourt, Abuja, all at the same time? Because we don't have time anymore. People are getting impatient. So we need to begin to demonstrate that these things are doable to much more people for it to get the traction that you require.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your contribution, but I just want to let you know that we had a contract to build 5,000 units for the Nigerian Correctional Services, and they were scattered. We chose our locations. We chose Kaduna, we chose Abuja, we chose Lagos, we chose Oyo, we chose Ogun, and then I added Edo because I wanted it to come here. And they had off-takers. What we just wanted from them was a BG. The problem was accessing Federal Mortgage Bank loan. They gave us tons and tons of bags of off-take forms. We put them into the system. We paid people to put it in. So it's easy for anybody to profile. They had the land, but did Federal Mortgage Bank come in? No. So replicating is easy. We're talking here yesterday, we're talking about getting cooperatives and even getting people to sign up. That's what she was saying. The Edo State brought it back. I was told that for 30 years, nobody did Federal Mortgage Bank in Edo State. But Governor Baseki brought it back because of the housing projects that he's doing. And I know he also paid a premium because the labor union insisted that he must pay some part of it for them to get them back. I am quoting Federal Mortgage Bank now. That was the only way the labor unions allowed a Federal Mortgage Bank system to start operating again in Edo State. So, but get people to go and fill up the form. Just go and register is a problem. Come and listen to lecture, seminar, how you will benefit is a problem. So it's an attitude thing. We had that contract, but we brought in the money. We brought in $20 million, but we needed the offtake to be signed off, and for Federal Mortgage Bank to agree to pay their 70% counterpart funding when it is done. So it's not like we have not tried it, but the 20, 30, 40 developers that you want to work with, if they don't secure their funding to pay, and I get money to pay, I have funding from outside of the country. I have. But if the people we are talking about now cannot organize those who want to buy the house to access a mortgage, how am I going to get my money? So I understand what you are talking about very well. It is good to do it. We are willing to do it. We are happy to do it. But the mortgage system must work. Yeah.
Because I and my friend had been talking. So I understand where he's coming from. He's a professional architect. He's building. He's used the WTF system before. So he sees how beautiful it is, how workable is it, how quick it constructs. Now, what he's saying is that 5,000 houses can be built quickly. But look at it like this. For adventure in Benin, there is only 100 of such houses ready. And then in Lagos, somebody wants to build 200. I think you are talking about collaboration, say cooperation from one professional to other to get things done faster. We are not against it. In fact, the reason why we are here is letting people know that this technology exists. This technology is usable. You could see Madam took so much time trying to tell us how it works so that we can interface professional to professional. And we can say, look, before you can use this system, you must design the panels to serve your purpose. So, 2 days ago, we were talking about uniformity of building designs. Do we have standard houses, 2-bedroom size houses that can be for mass production? So that if you are doing 200 in Ekoma, I'm doing 200 in Edo South or somewhere, it's the same. So if I finish using my panels here, I can give them to you. And we are working somewhere else. So we are not against that. And we are willing to work with such people, provided they understand by being trained how it works. It will help us all deliver faster, reach more people. I guess that is what you are trying to say. Faster. Because as much as we want to do 2,000, 3,000, 5,000 houses, the resources might not be concentrated on one hand, I believe. And that if we fuck it out, break it down, it would multiply. I think looking at it from that time, Madam has nothing against it. And we are here to collaborate. That's why we are in Benin. Thank you.
So if there is any other question, I will take. Yes.
Good afternoon, madam. Thank you very much for that beautiful presentation. My question is this. Like we have a property now where we have serious plumbing issues, and it resulted to having to break part of the wall to get in new external plumbing fittings and all of that. Do we have such flexibility in maintenance of such wall ties forms? That is one. Then two, you said a bungalow a week. If you're doing a bungalow a week, how long will it take you to do a 2-floor building that we call a duplex or maybe a block of flats? Thank you.
2 months.
2 months.
Yes. And that's why I started talking about procurement. I mentioned that procurement is key. If you don't plan well, you plan to fail. In terms of the plumbing, let me answer it because you were waiting for me to answer that. You see, when you're doing high-rise buildings, there's what they call dots. They put dots in the system to allow plumbing and electrical to run through for maintenance. The problem we have in this part of the world, Africa, because from my introduction and explanation, we are not only working in Nigeria, we are working in other African countries. What was the problem we had in Sierra Leone? Sierra Leone used what they call styrophones. Yeah, styrophone is rapid build system also, but it's a terrible system in Africa. They put it together as PVC and they put foams in between. Before you know it, the building is ready. When the plumber is going there, he will go and he's not ready. He doesn't know how the building was put together. He will damage the building in order to access plumbing. Every plumbing has a socket. They have sockets, they have points, they have elbows. So for our system, you had me saying the building must be tested. put under pressure for at least 24 hours before you put your panels. What blocks in a building is not the water line, it's the sewage line. People are putting sanitary pads in toilets. They are putting a diaper in toilets. They are throwing plastic in toilets. That is what blocks it. How do you unblock? There is a sucker. See, there's so much available in the industry. You just put, there's an instrument you put, it will tell you where the blockage is. You put the sucker, it sucks it out. So if we build for you, at least we'll maintain for 10, 15 years. Then you can train people to take it over. These people who are into building maintenance companies, they need to step up to have the adequate tools that you don't necessarily have to break down buildings. When we were building, I worked in Capa and Alberto for 20 years before I started my own company. I worked with Polosa for 7 years. Polosa, late Colonel Ubebo, is my father. Is my father's cousin. I trained under him. So I worked with him for about 7 years before I joined Polosa. I went to England, came back and joined Capa and Alberto. When we were building the civic center, we had blockage in the plumbing. It was just an instrument that told us where the blockage is. What happened when they were casting the concrete? Some people put pure water nylon, plenty of it. They stuck it out of annoyance. The man who talked to us yesterday told us about being friendly with your workers, teach them, and be friends with them. They stuck it. And then there was water all over the place. With that piece of equipment, we could easily dictate where the problem was. And the blockage was removed. So there are modern tools and instruments that help you do maintenance very quickly without breaking down the building. So don't be afraid that because it's concrete. Some people say, okay, if they want to modernize their home, if you want to change internal structures, you can do the external one in concrete and do the internal in block wall. It's flexible. So it's what you want, that's what we give you. But when you're talking about mass housing, you're talking about delivering quickly. So that flexibility won't be able to allow flexibility for everybody. If you are buying my property in a Mountain Garden, after you have paid me 100%, you come and tell me, madam, don't cast the internal walls. I want you to put block wall. I will put because you have paid me. If I have to change for every Peter, Paul, James, Jerusalem, then the purpose is defeated. If you listen to the video, it said post and beam construction. So which means you can do your columns, your beams, your slabs, and then fill in with block wall or whichever other material that you need. But when you do post and beam, a building that you see, when we cast, like I told you, if you cast a slab today, the next day you are climbing up because the acropops are still below. It comes with everything. You don't need to go and be looking for acropops in Nigeria. And those acropops will be there for the next 21 days. The panels will be removed, but the acropops will be there. So engineering detail, we watch it to 100%, if not more. They will not build without testing the soil where they are going to build. Beneath soil, we say it is hard. They will come. If we give them soil tests, they'll come and do their own. They don't want you to spoil their product. They'll come and do their own soil test to be sure that the engineering drawings you've given to them for the high-rise buildings, we have a couple, we have the townhouse, we have the block of flats, and then we have the duplex. They will test the soil to be sure that the engineering drawings that you have is complying with the soil test that you have. I will tell you something. When we went to Sierra Leone, while we were busy trying to build, the Chinese, they gave them place to build. They started digging gold. They forgot about construction because there's a lot of precious stone in Sierra Leone. So if I was given a site that had gold, maybe I will not think of doing WTF. I will tell them I want to do block because I want to be digging gold. So it's not only in Africa that we have people who are not straightforward. Yes.
I thought he uses blood, so maybe my blood group is not the right one. Okay. To your question about leaking inside of, it is a drawback. That's why I said construction is teamwork. If you have plumbers that don't do their job well, right, and you have broken pipes, you will break the farm. You will break the wall. I said I use this system, and we have some crazy plumbers who we used proper what do you call it, the green pipes, the ones, yeah, we use them, and they actually still, because they didn't know how to fit it, because you don't fit it
Yes.
how you fit every other pipe. So there's this proper way to do it, and they did it wrongly. When we did the Mitros residencies in Abeokuta, we did it in 60 days because of this form that we could use. So it has fantastic advantages, but we need, like I said, a good team, which means everybody involved, electrician, everybody, because when we now went to Newmarket to do it, we sat everybody down, I explained to them how it works. So that one went very smoothly. Okay, so that education, which you can see, not many people are ready to be around to hear today. So you get to site and you are flogging and you're fighting everybody. It's the same thing. It's an attitude we need to get of learning. I know more plumbing than many plumbers today. Why? Because I have applied myself to it. I know what is wrong, so I can tell you how to change it. There's a gentleman here who we worked together at that place. He just recognized me now when I showed him some of the videos, right? So it is, I've been on this thing. It's what I have passion for. It's not that all the millions will come, but this is what I find myself and I enjoy doing, and I stay there and learn. I learn every day. And that's what we need to cultivate as a habit, as a people, to learn. You've learned something today, have you not? Yes. So that's the essence of this. Let's begin to, tomorrow you will not do any of your plumbing without pressure testing. It doesn't cost very much. Pressure test all your lines. Be sure that there's no leakage before you close the form and pour the concrete. It's the same way for normal buildings. Every time they're breaking buildings, you move into a building and water is coming out from somewhere. It shouldn't happen. It doesn't happen in other places. But we don't have the discipline as a people to go through the process. Somebody learns work for 6 weeks and has become a boss. He begins to look for contract himself because we have deified money over expertise and value. Thank you.
Thank you. For the plumbing, you use PPM pipes, PPR pipes, and for the electrical, you use the tubes. No more PVC. PVC is outdated because it will dry and then it will brittle and then it starts cracking. So that is PVC. So, like I said, there is a lot happening. Things are changing. We should learn to change with what is changing, and then you get durable buildings. So, is there any other question, please?
Thank you, Madam, for your good presentation. So my question is tied to the theme for this conference, which talks about affordable housing, the shelter conference. Now you're talking about providing housing with concrete. So I want to know, how do you think these concrete or WTF buildings can be affordable for the low income earners compared to the conventional type or style of building? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the questions. Thank you for the presentation so far. As we're talking in the midst of this presentation, we just got one of our very important dignitaries walking in the person of the Honorable Commissioner of Physical Planning, Housing, Urban and Development. Even though she's trying to hide, we'd like to welcome her forward. Please give a round of applause to her as she comes. She's still hiding. We have seen you. You can't hide, ma. Okay, welcome. Okay, so I'd like to also recognize the presence of the permanent secretary of the ministry also. He walked in while presentations were going on. Yeah. Thank you very much for honoring this occasion. We really appreciate your presence.
Thank you. We're talking about it being affordable. If you are building traditional house for 10 million, I will build my WTF for 10 million. It might be cheaper. I've just enumerated the savings in terms of time and then the durability you get from it. If I am employing a mason to work for 6 months or 8 months for a traditional construction, the same mason is only going to work for 2 months. I've saved 6 months' salary. Do you understand what I'm saying? I am not plastering. So time, you see, when God was creating the world, he did it in 6 days. Time. If we learn how to measure our time and make good use of our time, we save money. I also gave an example of you trying to move into a house, and for some reason the contractor is not delivering it on time. You have to pay additional 1 year of rent. That is money. If you are doing bulk procurement, you save money. It is cheaper to buy 10 trailers of granite at a go than buying it one by one. That's why I talked about the procurement process. Yes, please.
Honorable Commissioner, special guests here present. My question I don't know whether it's a question or a comment, but from all I see, when we talk about the housing problem in Nigeria, especially when it has to do with the low income earners, I think the question has to do with the issue of funding, the mortgage system in the country. In a situation where you have double-digit inflation, it's very difficult for most, if not all, civil servants to be able to afford the kind of housing that we're talking about. Because apart from the fact that you have double-digit interest rates, the banks do not even have long-term tenure. You have mortgages which do not last for more than 15 years. In the US, standard mortgages are 30 years, standard mortgages. So it becomes very difficult with let's consider people who are on minimum wage. Minimum wage in Edo State is 40,000 naira. With a 40,000 naira take home pay, I wonder how many people can afford a house of 10 million, not to talk of 20. So what I want to hear is, how do we develop those kind of houses which will enable us to be able to get those category of workers to be able to afford it. That's the area I want us to look at. Because currently, as we are now, with the way the mortgage institutions are and what is available in terms of funding, definitely this system can only be affordable to high net worth individuals and people who are in business. So I think we need to look at that.
Thank you very much. I've been in this conference. Honorable Commissioner, welcome. I've been in this conference since it started. And I think we were told yesterday that you can belong to a cooperative and the cooperative will give you your house and you pay the developer and then you continue to pay through the cooperative. So it's still available. I'll use Cote d'Ivoire as an example. I said it here, the way they operate, the government, just like we have the Federal Housing Fund, had fund bank for housing for several years. You don't access the fund until you have worked for a place for 2 years. 1. 2, your employer is mandated to sign up for you to get that fund. So which means he's not going to be in a hurry to sack you, so that you can meet. So as soon as the developer finishes, it is the bank that is paying your salary that he delivers your home to, not you. Your C4 belongs to the bank that paid me. You continue to pay. Once you finish paying, the bank transfers your C4 to you. That's the way it works. So if he's working in Cote d'Ivoire, and he's working in Sierra Leone is a very poor country. Yes, yes. Sierra Leone is a very poor country. The NACIT is the pension fund. NACIT is the one that is responsible for mass housing for the poor. We built houses for NACIT. So it's just the system. Once the system can capture the needs of the people and create an ambience for people to be able to apply to get homes, they will get. For the low people, you can do a 1-bedroom, self-contained. In America, they call it studio flats. Studio flats in America is very expensive, but in Nigeria, it's not going to be as expensive. It is your house. It's just the ability to you must agree that you want to own a house and start to contribute little by little towards it. I said something yesterday. If I'm working in Ministry of Works and I want to own a home, maybe I have been there for 10 years and I have another 20 years to go. And they check what I have, that I have good record. My accounts department should be able to give me a letter to whichever mortgage institution. You give them a direct debit mandate. They take it from your salary. They don't need to take permission from you because they have already guaranteed that loan for you. So you don't remember when it's taken, just like the National Housing Fund they are taking now, you don't know, you can't complain. So if there is a will, there is a way. So let's not dwell on because it's a concrete house. No, the concrete house is more durable. But because of the system, it is produced faster. You save time. The time you save producing it faster saves money. That's what we are saying here. It's more durable, you save time, and it meets your need. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, WTF. I guess we learned something critical there. Okay, so we'll invite the other developer to come make their presentation. Prince Builders, you say you have a presentation. So who is representing the company? Thank you, Prince Builders. I hope your slides are up now. They're ready. Okay. Before you make your presentation, I'd like to acknowledge the presence of some other dignitaries in the house. Here with us is the Director Technical Services for the ESDPC, in person of Architect Bosse Idegbeso. We also have all the way from Abuja, from the Nigerian Institute of Building and Road Research Institute, my very Oga, Mr. Makava. He's a director of the institute, and he came with his team all the way from Abuja to be part of us today. And we really appreciate your presence, sir. Thank you very much. Please come and make your presentation now.
Good morning, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. There is a saying that goes like this: said, two good heads are better than one. Growing up, I take cognizance of all right. Growing up, I take cognizance of ways that inspires life and try to fit into areas that work with my comfort. In this conference, everybody are bringing to the plate their specialization. The Prince Builders and Estate Developers specializes in sales of land and buildings. The Prince Builders have been since its establishment, has specialized so well in the sales of land, and for over 15 years, we have turned tenants to landlords. I attended this conference yesterday, and somebody was talking about we should learn to accept tenancy. Yes, it's good, but what we find ourselves here in Nigeria is because what we call a growing system. Nigeria is a growing system, it's a great country, but we find ourselves still a growing system. We find out that people are more comfortable inspiring to become landlords than tenants. And here we are talking about affordable housing. So the land is where you build the house. And believe me, whatever house you are building, its accumulation or the price you are making affordable has to be also with the land that you are building that house. And we have come in over the years to provide solution to persons who want to acquire land. And in that, we have also delved into investments, land investment. When I say land investment, we have seen that funding is important in affordable housing. And we have helped many individuals buy land, give them maximum security to keep their land, safeguard it, and work with them with certain percentages on the increment so that when they sell, they'll have to build whatever house they want to build. I'll give you an instance. In 2014, in 2019, we were selling one of our estates at the rate of 350,000. A woman bought 100. Sorry, I think I'll keep this one here. A woman bought 100 plots at the rate of 350,000. And 300 plots we give, that's on 100 plots for 350,000 means that she paid 35 million. That was what she paid. And last year, this woman came in and said, I want to sell. I'm having somebody I've discussed with that wants to buy my land. And at this time, the land was already in that estate, Chinese company area, was already 2.1 million. And that was how she sold those 100 plots as a transfer to somebody else. And she made a profit at the rate of 2.1 million. That will give her 210 million. If you minus it from 35 million, that's a profit of 175 million. Because of time, I'll just be giving this. Permit me within my time, I don't know if 15 minutes is over, I will just call. Please help me with that first slide.
It just came to our notice that the lands that you are selling are not approved layouts with approved title from government. Government is here present, I hope you know. So we have been informed that the lands that your company is giving out to the public for the rates that you have specified, whatever the rates are not lands that have been approved. So you don't have the proper titles and you don't have the approved layouts. And this platform cannot be used to project any form of illegalities. We're supposed to be protecting the public, not exposing them unduly. So I would advise, as an encouragement, because we are all in this together, we don't want to discourage anybody's business, but we want to encourage you to take the right path. At the end of the day, if you deliver good service to people, you have more customers. True or true? True or true? It is true. True cannot be wrong, so it is true or true. So we would like to encourage you. Everybody here is encouraging your company to please just toe the right line. And we will always be available to project what you are doing. We will always be available to project what you are doing when you have aligned. I hope it's okay. We appreciate you. Thank you very much. Okay, so going further, we'd like to welcome the representative of IFC Edge, Temilola Shonola. She was part of the panel yesterday. Today she'll be giving us her presentation on sustainable buildings.
Thank you very much, Cecilia. And thank you everyone for being here. I understand that it's a public holiday, but I believe you are having a good time so far. So let me just quickly say how this is going to go. My name is Temilola Shonola. I came in from Lagos and I work with the International Finance Corporation, part of the World Bank Group. And I have given the organizers a piece of paper to pass around just for you to write your names. And the reason I'm doing that is because I work with donor money. When I say donor money, it has come from an organization that needs to know that we are reaching people. I was excited that I was coming to Benin because Benin has a couple of projects, and I wanted to really tell more people what we do. First of all, are there architects in this room? Plenty. Can you please signify with your hand, architects, architects, architects? So those architects, I know you are probably the ones that will give me plenty questions. And of course, there are engineers in the house as well. And there are estate planners, all in the built environment. So what we do has to do with buildings. And if you can start the presentation, please. So today it's going to be an introduction to EDGE. I'm going to mention EDGE a couple of times before I tell you what it means, right? So just keep it in mind, right? Next slide, please. I'm going to be quite fast with it because I don't want to bore you, because I want to leave a lot of time for questions. I said I work with International Finance Corporation. International Finance Corporation is actually one part of the World Bank Group. A lot of people have heard about World Bank, but it's actually 5 affiliates or 5 companies in one. And those are the companies. The one I work with is IFC. And what we do is we work with the private sector. Of course, there are other things that we do as well, apart from just working with the private sector. Next slide, please. So the IFC, International Finance Corporation, that works with the private sector, what we do is that we try and create markets. And whenever we go into a place, we look at the problems of the private sector and see what we can do to actually help or assist. With the program that I work with, it was a problem of green buildings. I know all of you have probably heard about green buildings, but if I ask now and say, what is a green building? I will have like several answers. And we'll get to that because I'm going to ask you, especially the architects, I'm going to target you guys to tell me what you see as a green building. So IFC is in 2 parts. We have investments and we do advisory as well. Our investment arm looks at your project and see whether it conforms to the criteria of IFC. And the very first thing we look at is in terms of the development impact. So I would just say, let's say 2 projects. One is affordable housing. Affordable housing being relative, I mean, is it going to be passed to the masses, as in people who really need it? And then there could be a high-end project. When we look at that, we look at the development impact of it. How is it affecting the people? So we're more likely to finance that affordable housing rather than the high-end one. And that's the first thing we look at. Then, of course, we look at the sponsor, the person who is bringing the project. I tell you that when you bring a project to any finance institution, be ready to have your skin in it. You cannot come to collect money and say, give me 100%. There is nothing like 100%. It's a case of we're in it together. So you bring something, I bring something, then we can maybe talk to other bodies who do the same thing and say, okay, you also bring something. So it's a collective thing rather than just one person. Then the sponsor also must have a good pedigree. If you come to me today, Madam Nosa, and say, I want money, but you haven't done any project, how am I going to be able to qualify you for the project? Yes, you could also tell me how you're going to start. That's why we say there's always skin in the game. You might probably start with your own funds that you have used over time, right? And then you've gotten to a position where you'd actually need more funds. We will look at that before we come to that position that, yes, Madam Nosa is definitely the kind of person that we can give our funding. Things like pricing and so on comes a lot later on in the discussion. So I know people will say, what is the rate? There's nothing like that. Every project is different. We look at every project differently. Then the other part is advisory. Like I told you, it's in terms of what can we do to help you. So if WTF, for example, says, this is what we need in terms of getting this out, right? Then we'll look at it and see where we can help you. And we'll advise you. This program, which is the Green Buildings program, is one of the advisory as well. We also do gender advisory. We do corporate governance advisory as well, and so many other types of advisory services. But today we're just talking more to green buildings. Next slide, please. And why are we talking about green buildings? All of you have heard about climate change, right? And some of you might say, what's that got to do with me? The thing is that, yes, maybe climate change has occurred in other climes, not Nigeria. Actually, it's affecting Nigeria as well, because we hear of all kinds of interesting kinds of climate changes that were never there before. I always give the example of Lagos water hyacinth. We used to have water hyacinth in November. It used to be very huge, and it was a big problem. And then in the last couple of years, I've just seen that seems to be a reduction in that water hyacinth. I don't know whether it's just me, but maybe it's because now I think about climate more. That's why I was able to say, you know how they say that before you buy a car, you don't see it on the road. The minute you buy that car, you are going to be seeing that same kind of car everywhere. I think, but I thought I was the only one with this car. That's not the case. That's the exact thing that happens with climate change. It's for you to open your eyes, and then you see that indeed it's happening. So there's climate change, and we really need to resolve it. And one interesting thing is that you guys have talked about funds throughout the 2 days that we've been here. And what we see is that quite a lot of financial institutions are actually bringing this to the top of the agenda. And the same thing with the World Bank Group. It is actually now part of our strategy that we have to tackle climate change. So in all the projects that we're doing, there has to be an element that you are tackling climate change. Next slide, please. So which are the areas that we look at when it comes to, at least for now, when we're talking about tackling climate change? We look at green energy, the solar, different types of energy generation that is efficient. We look at buildings, we look at climate smart agriculture, and anything that we know is sustainable. Okay, so today I am just going to be picking on the green buildings part of things. Next slide, please. Okay. I think I've already talked about, you can go to the next slide. That's where I talked about why we really need to tackle climate change. So the program I work for is called IFC Green Building Markets Transformation Program. And the way we work is in different ways. One of the things we do is speak to built environment like you. We also do students. Are there students in the house? I'm sure. Yes. So we also we have a course that I'll talk about that deals with students, because we also believe that they need to know what it means to actually green. Yesterday we talked about innovation. Things are changing. Is everything. And if you don't keep up, you're going to be left at the bus stop or even way, way behind. So you really need to keep up. Whatever thing you're doing, whatever career you are in, you must be ahead of the pack. And the only way you can be ahead of the pack is if you keep on checking your career and the knowledge that is actually happening in your career. I have a sister who is an orthodontist. Those ones that I think she was the one that put this thing in my mouth. And one thing that I see is that every single year, as part of the career, whatever development, she must do like about 2 or 3 courses. It was mandatory. Because if she doesn't, they will collect the license from her. And that's the way we should see our career, no matter what it is. Even if you are cleaning the floor, I tell you, there are different things that have happened in terms of cleaning floors. So always ensure that you are, trying to see. And that's why I salute everyone here, because it's in definitely your thirst for knowledge that you are here. So we speak to the built environment, we speak to government, because as much as we try to do these things that we have talked about, housing and so on, we really do need the government to do this for us. And for green buildings, what we have found is that the government can help us to build this green buildings market if they come in. If, for example, I tell Mr. Chima, I'll give you this land, you build, I'll reduce your approval fees by 10%. Are you likely to take it? Yes, he will take it. So that's why we think that government can also help, not just in approval fees, but in other ways as well. Nigeria is part of the Paris Agreement, right? We have what we call nationally determined contributions that we have to make towards climate change. And I believe that has related to all the states as well. We have spoken with Lagos State, Kaduna State, and the next state was Edo State. So we want to see what we can do with government in Edo State to help us transform this market. What we are trying to do is to transform your thinking about building. When you are building, think sustainable. And I'll tell you some of the reasons why you also have to do that. Next slide, please. So these are some of the things we do. There is EDGE. I said I wasn't going to tell you what it meant, but now I will. And it means excellence in design for greater efficiencies. And the reason why we specify design is because, when you want to build, where do you start? It's from the drawing, right? It's the person that sits down and thinks about the concept and puts it down on paper before it becomes a home. So we're saying that as you're thinking of what you are putting down on paper, start thinking that it has to be sustainable. So that's why I say the excellence in design for greater efficiency. it's the architects that must make sure that in their design, they've already thought of the energy, they thought of the water, they thought of all the things that has to do with that building. We also have another program called Apex, which is for cities. So if you have like Benin City, for example, if you want to look at your sustainable strategy, everything, whether it's waste, it's buildings, it's anything at all, forestation, whatever, then our Apex team will be able to help you. And the last one is what we call the Building Resilience Index, which is used a lot in Asia because Asia always has a lot of hazards, climate hazards, floods every day. There was one in Libya, there was one in Morocco, but Asia is really, really prone to it. We should count ourselves really blessed to be Nigeria because Nigeria has man-made problems, not I'm telling you, not natural. They are, well, let me not say that some are natural, but a lot, yes, a lot is man-made. So we have that BRI that looks into that. Next slide, please. So what's the definition of a green building? Can someone tell me? I want to interact with my people here. Yes. Okay. Please let me give him the mic. Definition of a green buildings. I have shown you the conjure before. Maybe I should, because I couldn't see the slide before it came. I would have asked you first, but tell me. Yes.
Any structure that harmonizes with the environment. That is my definition of a green building.
That blends.
Blends harmoniously with the environment.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other person? Yes. Mrs. Namnusa there.
Okay. Oh, a green building is a building that enables you to use the building in such a way that the environment is not depleted, i.e., having your solar panels, having the septic tanks turned into sewage treatment plants because the water coming from it, the sewage can be turned into gas for cooking or for electricity, and the water from it can be used for irrigation. So that is what I understand by green building, because the product of an area, so other materials also that are used to do the building that gives it cooling effects, that makes it more comfortable. So invariably, there are returns in ensuring that your buildings are green.
Thank you. Thank you for that. For everyone, I will say yes, definition is correct, right? People have different definitions, green buildings. This particular one is the one that we use at Edge. For example, apart from this, there are buildings where you want the building ambience, the place to feel nice, to make you want to go to work. They say that is it Google that people want to go to work every time. So that means the ambience has been done in such a way that people feel like going to work. For example, you go into the office and there's somewhere where you can sit down and just relax and chat, or you use your laptop. Instead of sitting down, you are standing up. That means they're thinking about the people that are going to use that building. So it's different things. So for us at Edge, we say that our definition is that, one, you must be able to tell me that it's a green building by a paper. You cannot tell me my building is green and I will accept it. It must have been audited, checked, and agreed that it meets all the criteria of a green building before I can accept it. And this is very important when you come to financing. There are financial institutions that request that your building should actually be a green building. We have what we call green funds now. We have institutions that are only towards green projects. My office, we will not stay in any building anymore unless it's a green building. And quite a lot of international organizations also say that. So it's coming up, and it's something that you really have to keep in mind. So you must have that certificate. The second thing is that you must be doing better than any similar building by at least 20%. So if your energy bill is if the baseline is 20 naira, your own must be at least 20% of 10. 8. Should be 8. So you must be doing better in your energy bills, in your water bills, and things like that. So that's what we mean by you must be better. You must do better performance in your building. The last thing that we request is that your building should be able to tell me how it is contributing to this climate change issue. And some of you might have heard about emissions, carbon emissions, right? That is what we are trying to tackle. So your building should be able to tell me, by cutting my energy by this much, this is how much emissions I've been able to take out of the environment. So that's what we call quantified measuring. You should be able to measure it. And your building should actually show that. I'll tell you how it's done. Next slide, please. So excellence in design for greater efficiencies has 3 parts. The first is a free software. So for all built environment people, you can actually go into the software and put your building into it and see how you are doing. Now, it's a specific app. So when you're comparing your buildings, you're going to be comparing it to the city you're in. So it's going to be in Benin, for example. It has data at the back end that only compares with data that we got from Benin. So power costs, water costs, and things like that are based on what we have in Benin. So the free software is there. You can go to www.edgebuildings.com and you can register free. You can play around with it. You can, simulate your building. You can even simulate your own building that you stay in. Or if you're building very soon, like Cecilia, she's going to be simulating her buildings to see how it is doing. And one interesting thing is that most buildings actually meet the 20%, but people don't know because there are simple things that we request of you. Things like placing your building, in a particular direction. I asked that how many are the architects here? I am not even in the built environment. I have a science background. The closest thing I have to architect is I'm married to one. But he has taught me a lot of things as if I went to school for architect. And one of the things that is the first thing you look at is the building orientation. How do you place your building? Before I didn't know that, okay, the sun rose from the west or the south. Okay, I knew that, but I was terrible in geography. So he always knew that this is where the sun is coming from. So this is how we're going to place this building. That is the green measure. It is not that because you have put solar panels everywhere, that building is green. You could still put solar panels everywhere and then your building is not green. It's possible. So ensure that you are doing it right. Check what you are doing as an architect, the design you're putting in place, and make sure you're doing it right. So the first thing is orientation. I tell you that our ancestors, they used to build greener than we do now. It's because for us, we have gone up, we've gone up vertically. We now use a lot of glass. Everything has to be nice and so on, which is good. We're just saying that ensure that what you are using is sustainable. So you're going to give me, if you want to come into the Edge app and certify a building that is 10 stories, all glass, that glass has to be a special type of glass that actually stops heat gain, right? That's all we ask. But for affordable homes, and it has been done, we have certified buildings that are affordable. There was one in Badagry, which was by a company called EcoStone, which was doing something similar to WTF. They could actually build a 2-bedroom in 2 weeks. And that was the technology that was used for the 275 homes that was built, which was built in like a year for the Lagos State government. It stalled because some of the issues that we have in terms of, okay, how are we going to continue funding and so on and so forth. But at least they were able to do that. That was the very first project that we certified in Nigeria, and it was for affordable because it was going then at about, I think, 7 million or something in Lagos, although it was in Badagry, right? But at least people still were able to get it. So affordable and sustainable is possible, and you can do it. Next slide, please. So you can ask me, so why do we have to certify? I've told you some of the reasons, but you can go to the next slide and I'll tell you some of the advantages. So for everyone here, if you live in a home, the first thing you should be thinking of is your energy cost. Because energy now is good. So when you go into a home and you see what you see, what do you call these LED lights? Not LED, the normal bulbs. Those normal bulbs eat a lot more energy than your LED lights, right? So when you go into that home, you need to check, okay, what is the energy like in this place? Do they have fittings in place that will help me reduce my cost? So that's what it is for you as a homeowner. You should check that and say, okay, yes, all my energy. So for you, yes, for a person like me, I have been disturbing my husband, like, okay, we need to do this, we need to do this. Things like this pump that they use for having your bath, or no, for water. Yes, that they put I can't remember the name of, maybe surge pump or something. Booster pump, thank you. They put it in the house so that when you're having your bath, right, the shower will come out a lot more. Apparently, a booster pump is not sustainable. Why? Because it uses more water. One, energy, you use more energy, then you use more water. And one of the things that will show you that we look at is not just energy, but we also look at water. Some people, you say water everywhere. Actually, that water is not is not drinkable. If you go to South Africa, Cape Town, they will tell you that you must not have your bath more than once or twice. I'm just joking. But they are conscious of water, and we also have to be conscious. I believe that, for example, if you're living in Lekki, Lagos, before you get to clean water, you have to go, I don't know how many, but it's definitely deeper than if you are living on the mainland. So we have to be careful how we use our water. So next slide, please. Are you following me or am I following you? You seem to be faster than I am. But let me see. Okay. Let me just advantages of certification. Let me just go there. Make sure. Okay. Next slide. I think you skipped a slide, or maybe it's not. Okay. Maybe it's hidden. But there is another slide there that talks about building incentives and certification for different people, whether you're a developer, you are government, you are a consumer, or you are a built environment person. Next slide. So apart from EDGE, do you guys know any other certification? At least there's one that everybody should know. When you say you're certifying a building as a green building, which are the other ones that you have an idea that you know of certification programs? BREEAM. Yes, there's BREEAM, which is a British one. Yes. There's the most important one, LEED, that everybody knows, that they certify buildings. They confirm, thank you. They confirm that your building is green, LEED. LEED, EDGE, BREEAM, all of them, we all have the same objectives, and that is to tackle climate change. It doesn't matter how we do it, the end game is that we're tackling climate change. So for EDGE, whichever one you want to certify with, you can. The only thing that is different with EDGE is that we bring our own name behind it, the World Bank name behind it. Then we have that free app. That free app, even though it says free, there's nothing free in life. Oh, you know, nothing is free. The way we have been able to get it free is because we work with other organizations with like minds who want to tackle climate change. For Nigeria, that organization is the Japan government. So they have given us the funds to be able to keep the application free to everyone. There is also UK government that has also given us money. We don't do it just in Nigeria. This is all over the 100 or so countries that that has EDGE. Anywhere where we have an office, then you will have EDGE there. Next slide, please. So how do you certify? Can you go to the next slide? Okay. I think some of the things are hidden, but it's okay. So if you want to go on, go to the next slide again. Let me see. Okay, stop there, please. So if you want to certify a building, it's quite simple. You just need to go into the app, register the building. Once you are registered, there is what we call auditors who will look at the building and confirm that you have everything that you said was going to be in the building there. When the auditor is done, it goes on to a reviewer who checks it again and confirms that, yes, it meets all the criteria. So it's a case of register, check, and yes, and build or get certified. Next slide. Okay. Next slide. Okay. And there are different ways in which you can certify. You can decide that, okay, I'm just going to meet 20%. 20% means 20% better than a similar building in your city. In terms of the energy, in terms of water, in terms of the materials. Materials are very, very important. Why? Because they also have what we call embodied carbon. So it's one of the criteria within the app to make sure that you're not using materials that have a lot of embodied carbon. And I'll give you an example. So we use clay for some bricks, right? We use asbestos. No, asbestos has been thrown out long ago. Yeah, for that was one of the first ones that was. So we use clay, we use normal hollow bricks that you have. We use things like WTF things and so on, right? But if I ask you that, which one do you think is more sustainable? The clay that is coming from the clay house in Ikeja and your hollow bricks that you're using, which one would you say was more sustainable? Clay for Ikeja, right? Any other? Which one do you think is more sustainable? Hollow bricks. So I have one hollow, one clay. So this is why the clay bricks, the hollow bricks is more sustainable. If the clay is passed through a kiln that uses a lot of energy, then it is going to be less sustainable because the energy that was used from what we call cradle to site is quite high. The hollow bricks is not as high. But if you get some 100 people to put those clays down, use the soil to cake it and everything, then it's going to be more sustainable. So it's in terms of energy that we're talking about when it comes to materials. What kind of process has it gone through? Is that process sustainable? So that's the difference between when we look at materials that you use for your building. Next slide. Next one. I think I'll talk about. Right. So we want to look quickly at a 5 minutes presentation of how to use the app. You just look at the demo quickly online.
So that's a very quick way of checking whether your building is actually ready for certification. So if you have any project currently that you want to run through, you can install and see whether.
Next slide, please. Who's checking? Okay. So certification for now is voluntary. We do not say every building must be certified. What we say is that you should just be conscious of your building now and build sustainably. So it's buildings that really want to show that certificate, maybe for finance, for international organization, or for yourself, that can do certification, that should do certification because it's voluntary, right? We only have two organizations that do it for us in Nigeria. These are people that we have looked at and see that they are able to do the audits and review up to international standards because it's an international certificate. So it's called Sintali SGS, JBCI, and they both have different ways of costing for your building. And I'll show you that now. Next slide, please. Sintali SGS, they cost based on the entire project. So if you have like 10 stories or 11 stories, they'll just give you one bill. If you have 300 units, right, they're not going to do it per unit. They'll just give you one ballpark figure based on what we have there. That for 100 units, say that doesn't go past 3 units, the total from registration all the way to the final audit is 11,250. And I say through because there are two certifications that you will get. The first one is at design, and then the second one is at final construction. Design will check all your papers and make sure that you put all the right measures in place. And the final construction will audit your project to make sure that the final things that you said you were going to do, you have actually done it, or you've even upgraded. Next slide, please. So that's for Sintali SGS. GBCI costs differently. They cost per square meter. So if it's 10 square meters, they will cost based on the square meter. Next slide, please. Next one. So you could say, have we done anything in Nigeria? Yes, we have. And for those who have certified with us, these are all the things that we have done for them. We do their marketing. We help them with their marketing for those projects to tell people that it's a green building and, you know, you can buy out of it. And they also leverage our name whenever they put up a press release and things like that. In Benin, we have two projects. One is a student accommodation project, which was certified for design. And we have another one coming up for EMOA, the museum, that is not certified yet, but is going to get certification. Next slide, please. Next slide. These are some of, okay, go back one slide. Yeah, these are some of the projects that we have in Nigeria. Alliance Place is where my office is. And we moved in there in 2019. And we had insisted that before we moved in, that building has to be certified. So it was certified immediately we moved in, and it has attracted very good customers as well because of that. The Peridot Parkland is the one I spoke about that is in Badagry, and there are others as well. Next slide, please. These are all projects that has been done so far in different parts of the country, and we're hoping that definitely we'll continue to get more. For Benin right now is just the student accommodation. Next slide. So these are case studies. I'm not going to talk too much about them, but when I say case studies, you will ask, what did Peridot Parkland do to make it a green building? Simple things, like they reduced what we call window to wall ratio, i.e., the more window you have, the more that you have to save on heat gain. When you reduce that, it's actually a green measure for you. Then they check their shower heads to make sure that they're not the ones that, you know, you can have a perfect shower, whether it is flowing fully or it is coming in little bits and bulbs. They have what we call aerators now. Aerators are what you put on a tap that actually makes it feel as if it is flowing a lot more, but it's not actually. It's actually reduced the water. So those are the kind of things we want people to do for their water. And then in terms of their internal and external walls, right, they use controlled concrete and aluminum sheets. So it's not the kind of things we're saying you should do are not out of Nigeria. Then we're not saying you should go and import anything. Solar is probably the very last thing about green. You start from the passive and go all the way down to the more expensive ones. And you can do the one that really works for you. Next slide. That's another case study. We would not talk about that. That's that's a bank, a financial institution. Next slide, please. And this is the student accommodates one in Benin. It's on design and it's made 26% in energy saving. I think the students will be happy to have reduced energy costs. Next slide, please. These are other projects that are certified in Nigeria. Next slide. So this brings me to what we call edge experts, which anyone in the built environment can become. There is a training that is done. Once you do the training and pass that training, you do an exam. The training is $150 for now, and the exam is 100. Once you pass, you become what we call an edge expert. And as an edge expert, you can speak to clients and be paid for helping them achieve edge certification. So if we want to do that as students, you really need to have a background in the built environment before you can actually go on to become an edge expert. Next slide, please. And these are the various roles that you do as an expert. After being an expert, if you've done a lot of projects, you can move on to become an auditor. And these people, we have a lot of them. In Nigeria right now, we have over 80 auditor experts, edge experts. And for auditors, I think we have about 4 who actually use this as their bread and butter currently. Next slide, please. Next slide. I think I've come to the end, and I will definitely take your questions. The last one is a slide on a survey that I'm going to do, which you're going to use your phone just to use the QR code, and it will come up with the survey. The reason why we do the survey, like I said, is for our donors to make sure to tell them that we did this here in Benin, and this is what the participants said. So you can scan it and help me do the survey while I take your questions. Thank you very much. Questions? So that means that I did very well. You understood everything I said. If there are no questions. Okay. Can you please scan the survey? My contact is up there in case anyone wants to get in touch. Please bring out your phones and take the survey. And contact me as necessary as well. Is it coming up for those who have tried it? Is it showing? Is it allowing you to do the survey? Okay. It's a 1 minute thing, very simple. And I'm sure all of you have smartphones. Okay. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you again for coming on this public holiday. I wish everyone um, a fantastic rest of the day and hope to come back to Benin again, right, to open certified buildings. Thank you.
Down to the Executive Director of the Edo State Development and Property Corporation. I'll be doing our product presentation. The slides, please. Next slide. Okay, yeah. At ESDPC, our core business, basically is real estate investment, provision of real estate, management and sales of real estate, and identifying opportunities for real estate based on the needs of the state. And basically, what we do is we engage both private sector investors and developers to meet the real estate demands of the state. Next slide, please. Yeah, our services that includes residential estate, commercial estate, hospitality, and as residential estate, we act as a developer, estate manager, and an agent for the industrial, residential estate properties of the state, government, and a couple of other private individuals. Then we also buy and sell movable, immovable properties vested in us that are really necessary for the improvement of real estate business for the state. Next slide, please. Yeah, our development team is also focused on harnessing opportunities for luxury development in the states. As I go on in the presentation, you will see a couple of our other luxury developments we've done in the states and upcoming luxury developments. Next slide, please. Just move. Next slide, next slide. Yeah. So let me talk about some of our completed projects. Next slide. Yeah, Emotan Garden City. For those of us that live in Benin, I believe at some point we must have heard about Emotan Garden City. Emotan Garden City is a flagship estate being developed by the Edo State, by ESDPC basically, for indigenes living in the state as well as indigenes that live outside the state. The way we were going about the development of Emotan Garden City is we've broken it down into phases. At the moment, we are done with the phase one of the Emotan Garden City and we've handed it over to um, off-takers and of course our clients. Currently, as I progress, you will see how far we've gone for the phase two and the plans we have for the phase three. Next slide, please. Yeah. So this is just a brief rundown of what we have. Phase one of the Metal City, consisting of 68 mid-level units, has reached completion, has been handed over to buyers. The design and construction process was carried out with meticulous attention to detail, ensuring quality, ensuring integration of quality architectural elements and materials. So this is about what we have for the phase one. Next slide, please. Then our other completed project is the Golf Mills project. For those of us that live around the GROE, we have the Golf Mills project that has been completed already, handed over to buyers. And the development of Golf Mills is a luxury block of flats for 26 different, basically 26 different luxury apartments. And the construction started sometime around September 2021, and in 2023, the construction process was concluded and we've handed over to some of our, should I say, customers? Yeah, basically that's what it is, customers. And the main building, of course, is an architectural marvel, and it was designed across 4 floors. Some of the extra facilities we have is on the golf courses, we have a basement parking, we have a rooftop relaxation center, and a rooftop pool. So this has been completed already. It's along the golf course road, directly opposite the 4th Brigade of the Nigerian Army, and just adjacent to the government house. That's what we have for the golf mills project. Next slide, please. So these are photos of the golf mills project. Next. Yeah, that building you see by the right is the servants' quarters, what we popularly call the boys' quarters. So basically, we did not just build for the users, we also made sure there was provision for servants or servants, basically butlers and housemaids. Next slide. Next slide. Yeah, these are also pictures. You can see the rooftop pool over there, and by the picture on the top left, you can see the relaxation center over there. Next slide. Next slide. So now let me talk about some of our ongoing projects. Next slide. Yeah, back again, the Emotan Garden City Estate and the phase two. We are currently building the phase two, over 167 units. About 167 units are currently under construction. And at the moment, we are at the roofing stage of all of the units. So we are taking everything at a go. Everything. Just next slide, please. Yeah. These pictures were taken sometime around August. As you can see, what is next here is the plastering and the roofing. And you can see some of the photos there. We've done the plastering. But if you go to site right now, all of the buildings are already on the roofing stage. The roofing for some of the buildings, the roof members are already in place, while for some of other buildings, the roofing sheets have been laid already. And so we are currently on track to hand over the projects to our customers by December this year. Next slide, please. Yeah, this is the key operational timeline and delivery goals. At the moment, we are at roof works, which is supposed to run through September and October. But thankfully, we are well ahead of schedule because we're supposed to finish roof works by October, but at the moment, we are basically almost done with the roof works. So from the roof works, we move into service works, finishing, and by December, we are in the post-construction and handing over of the properties to customers. Next slide. So let me talk about some of our upcoming projects and initiatives that all of you can key into. Let's go. So Reservation Road project. The name of this project actually is the Gulf Heights Residence. This came about because while we were building the Gulf Mills, we had too many persons interested in getting one from the Gulf Mills, regardless of the fact that it is expensive and is a luxury apartment. So we've come up with this, and thankfully, so many persons are already coming to the office to say, "Oh, how can we get this?" So for the Reservation Road project, it's basically a proposed residential apartment along the Reservation Road. Most of us know Reservation Road, just close to the golf course. Then part of the benefits you get from purchasing an apartment here is you get 24 hours power, large recreational spaces, and basically every other amenities you would need to live a good and, let's say, a luxury living in Benin City. And our JV partner for this project is Median Infrastructure Development Company. And for the Reservation Road project, it is not something we are still planning. It is something that is already in motion. At the moment, the JV partnership agreement have been signed already. The developers, they've moved some of their cabin-like office building to site. And by the first week of October, we'll do the groundbreaking and construction starts. Next slide, please. And of course, yet again, the Emotan Garden City Estate, Phase 3. And what we are doing for the Emotan Garden City Estate is we are collaborating with real estate developers. At the moment, we have about 5 real estate developers. We have with us here WTF, we have Landsmith Construction Limited, we have the Prince Builders, and we have Ivy League developers. Also, I don't know if I'm supposed to mention this, we also have a very interesting partner too. Let me just say it regardless. The Nigerian Army Post Service Housing Scheme. They've come in, they want to partner with us. JV agreement is ready to be signed, hopefully this coming week, and they've promised to move into site by second or third week of October. So you know what it means to have as your neighbor the Nigerian Army. It means any issue of security has been solved 100%. Well, 100 is a stretch, but let's say 99%. So yeah, these are the developers we have for the Emotan Garden City Estate Phase 3. Next slide, please. And we have the Harmony Meadows Estate. This estate is basically for those living around the Edo Central Senatorial District. And the estate is situated along the Ekuma Auchi Road. Is there anybody familiar with Ekuma here? Ekuma Auchi, Irwa. Okay, yeah. Okay, the estate is situated along the Ekuma Irwa Road and less than 5 minutes drive from Irwa Specialist Hospital. So that is it basically. And for these two, our JV partners, they are ready and set to move into site to start with, to get on with the business of construction. And for the Harmony Meadows Estate, it is more of looking at the low income earners of the state, because at the end of the day, some people would say Gulf Mills and Gulf Heights, they are high end. Emotan Garden City is a bit of for the medium income earners, but what we have here is for the low income earners. And for the 2 bedrooms at the Harmony Meadows, it is being priced at about 9 million naira, and you have a year to pay that. While we have a 1 bedroom expandable to 2 for 7.2 million naira. That's what we have for the Harmony Meadows Estate in Ekuma. Next slide, please. Yeah. These are photo renderings of the proposal we have for the Harmony Meadows Estate in Ekpoma. Next slide. Next slide, please. And also we have the ESDPC Orange Estate and the Benin Auchi Road at Igoviobu, just on the outskirts of Benin City. For these two, our JV partners, we've signed the agreement with them. Some of them, they are in town already, ready to move to sites next week, basically. And it's so surprising that all of our partners are ready to move on to site first week of October, first week of October. That tells you how much work we've done behind the scenes to make sure we contribute the necessary quota to reducing the housing deficit in Edo State. Next slide, please. And also we have the Okoronto project. It's a mid-income project, and at the moment we are still discussing with some of our JV partners that are interested in developing this. This is going to be built here in Benin City, and of course, as the days go, we are very certain we'll sign that JV agreement with one of our wonderful JV partners and get on with this too. Now, just to add is for the Emotan Garden City phase 2, if you want to key into that, we have 3 different housing types. We have the 2-bedroom semi-detached, and that is going for 11 million naira. We have the 3-bedroom semi-detached bungalow that is going for 13 million naira, and we have the 3-bedroom fully detached bungalow that is going for 15 million naira. We understand that for some persons, or let's say for most government workers, paying 15, 13, or 11 million naira at a go might be a little bit difficult and cumbersome. So we have a payment plan for that, which allows you to pay within the span of a year. You can pay within a year, or you can come with entered into an agreement with one of the mortgage banks in Nigeria. That's First City Code Mortgage Bank based in Asaba. So we also opportunity for you to use your mortgage savings, or because of your reason of participation in the National Housing Fund, you can use the mortgage bank to get a property there. The moment you are done with the paperwork, you can be rest assured that you are a homeowner at the Emotan Garden City. All right, that was my presentation, and thank you. If you have any questions, I'll be willing and happy to answer your question. Yeah, there's a question here, please.
No, good afternoon. Okay, my question goes like this. Me being a civil servant, and I have few years to go, can I soak it in? And how much could they give to people like us? We are in the head settle. Thank you.
All right, of course, you can key in by your reason of being a civil servant. And by default, as a civil servant, you contribute to the National Housing Fund already. And I understand that there might be issues surrounding the fact that you will be leaving service in a couple of years. But then it is you don't just go to the mortgage bankers and tell them, oh, I want this, you have to give me, without going through documentation, paperwork, trying to understand how you can key into it. But one thing is certain, you can always, if you've already been contributing to the National Housing Fund, you can always, although they might tell you, we may not be able to give you this much amount of money because you have just a few number of years left to leave service. But of course, if you can get a huge chunk of it from the mortgage bankers, you can contribute the other little part of it just to be a homeowner at the Mountain Garden City. Yeah, so it is very possible. Any other question? Mic is connected.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So you very carefully. I'm a developer in a mountain garden. We are worried about infrastructure. We have off-takers. How do I deliver homes to my off-takers when the infrastructure is not there? You have said you are handing over houses to people in December. Are the roads done? Coming in to a mountain, do you have the light there? I know there is water. So is a key part of delivering homes. I will not buy a house in a place where I have to struggle to get home. The minute you get off Upper Sapuba Road, to get to a mountain garden right now is a challenge. Within the estate is also a challenge. So in whatever estate you are developing, please let infrastructure start before the building. I will build the other way around. Outside of Nigeria, in Africa, some countries, they do the infrastructure first. Infrastructure first helps the developer to get to site, helps materials to get to site, and also helps the off-takers to assess site and be happy to pay. So we are representing government.
Of course.
Pass this message.
Well, thank you for the question and making your position known. At the moment, like you rightly said, there is water running in the estate already. Also, I can tell you that power has been connected to the estate already. And for the roads, the road leading to the estate, that's the Pioneer Road. The government already awarded the contract for that, not just awarding it, the contractors, they're already working and they are coming in through the St. Saviour Road. And of course, you would agree with me that this is the rainy season and the pace of work cannot be as it is or as it should be if we were in the dry season. And of course, in around within Emotown City, Garden City itself, the rains are here. We can't really do much. As soon as the rain subsides, we are off on making. Of course, the drainages will be done too by the road contractors within the Emotown Garden City estate. So you should be rest assured that every infrastructure is going to be taken care of within Emotown Garden City estate. Any other question?
Good afternoon, everybody. The question I want to ask is based on sustainability. These projects are made possible because we have a proactive governor now. By next year, all things being equal, the administration will come to an end. All these laudable and fantastic projects you have on ground, what is the assurance that it is going to be sustained? The second aspect is this. I saw the Gulf means, all the water facilities that you put in place there. What is the plan for maintenance and sustainability? You can bear with me that we have estates like the one at Oba. You can agree with me the state of that place. So are we going to go back after the administration of Mr. Governor Obaseki in the same pattern, or is there any mechanisms that you put in place, your agency put in place, that will sustain these projects? Thank you.
All right, thank you for your question. You know, ESDPC as a corporation, for us, we would want to build up something and not think of what happens to it when we are out of the corporation. So at the moment, we've employed project managers for Gulf Mills already, and we've done that too for Emotan Garden City. So by default, we have project managers that are always going to be on site, having their own office. I don't know if you understand me. So with the project managers there won't be any issue of maybe the buildings getting into states of disrepair and whatnot. So yeah, we've had that in mind always. That's why we've already employed project managers for the Gulf Mills, and we've done that too for Emotangari City Phase 1. Thank you. Any other question? Question. I'll be willing and able to answer. All right, one question over here.
Yes, one of the things I'm very concerned about is waste management, right? I don't know what processes or what the agenda is for waste management for the, when I mean waste, like garbage, we generate a lot of waste, we like doing parties and cooking and, so how do you manage the waste that's going to be generated within the environment in each of the houses?
So, okay, that's fine. For the waste management, let me attend to sewage waste. For sewage waste, by default, Emotan Garden City, we are working with the concept of a central sewage system. And from the sewage system treatment plant, we are working on this anaerobic waste management system. So by default, anything relating to sewage and whatnot is 100% being taken care of. So that's it. Thank you. Any other question? So I guess this is the end of my presentation. Thank you for listening.